Cool. Yeah. So my name is Hafiz. I started a YouTube channel with four of my good friends called the Roommates back in 2016. And then eventually the Roommates has grown and evolved in many different seasons of life. But basically what we said the Roommates was it was a place where the everyday man can come to improve his life. So we interviewed some of the best and brightest individuals such as Jordan Peterson, Gary Vee, Patrick Bet Davis, Stefan Labossiere, Jose Zuniga, Jonathan Haidt, and so on, came on the show. And the whole goal was to be able to have these great conversations for the purpose of building up men. As that continued, I would also do live streams, but then I stopped doing live streams. And then eventually I would do occasional individual videos. So we did that for about 6, 7 years. And now I'm transitioning to a lot more things that I'm more excited about. And yeah, so that's the elevator pitch about me and what I do.
Like what you're more excited about?
Well, I'm more excited about the standard, the organization that we created, and the standard is an exclusive community of high performing men,
Mhm.
like, committed to helping one another unlock their full potential physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, and through the concept of digital cities. So, we're really excited about this new thing that me and my business partner are building. So, my guy Joseph Hines,
Mhm.
and just how it's going to change the world. Because I think level one is content, but I think level two is actual in person transformation, and
Mhm.
that's what we're excited about in this next season of life.
So, my first question.
Go ahead.
Would you consider yourself red pill?
Never in a million years.
Never.
Never in a
Why?
million years.
Why?
I think to me, first and foremost, I think I don't subscribe to any man-made ideology.
Okay.
Because I think a lot of these ideologies put you in a box.
Mhm.
So I do subscribe to religion, and people can argue whether that's man-made or not.
Mhm.
That's going to be a great conversation, great debate. You get a guy like Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson had a great debate about
Mhm.
that. But in regards to man-made ideologies, I don't really subscribe to them as much, and I don't like to identify myself with something that somebody else has conjured up with their own personal opinion. And
Mhm.
so I think in regards to the red pill is a very interesting space, a lot of interesting characters there. And I think the biggest challenge to me is the phrase that they use is that we're all we're doing is trying to share the truth about fill in the blank, right?
Mhm.
And to
Mhm.
me, it's very, very arrogant as a human being to say I myself am the orator of the truth.
Mhm.
I know the truth. My studies are the accurate studies.
Mhm.
My ideas are the accurate ideas. I am the only individual who
Mhm.
knows these things. And so to me, that ideology seems very cult like,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Mhm.
If you believe in them, they give you praise words like, oh, yo, you're red pilled, you're an alpha male, right?
Uh-huh.
And if you disagree with them, they give you the curse words, right? You are blue pilled, you are a beta male, right?
Are you talking about like the comments section?
I'm just talking about just the idea of the
Okay.
philosophy, right? So
Okay.
the people who subscribe to their worldview are red pill individuals, right?
Uh-huh.
Their minds have been opened up to the truth, right?
Mhm.
And the people who disagree with their ideas are considered blue pill, right? You have
Mhm.
rejected the truth, i.e., the matrix, right? The
Uh-huh.
guy in the matrix. He said, I want to go back in the machine, even though I know
Uh-huh.
it. I want to go back in the machine. So to me, that seems very cult like
Mm.
in regards to the ideology. And so there's a lot of different reasons why I don't subscribe to it. But those are the few things. I just cannot hold myself to an ideology that a certain
Mhm.
individual or individuals are communicating
Mhm.
without understanding the fullness of those ideas.
Mhm. Yeah, because they would say it's a praxeology, not an ideology.
Yeah, it's very easy to use words like that, but
Uh-huh.
then you break down what does that mean?
Yeah. So my question to you is like, what specifically do you disagree with?
Great question. So when people say things like, okay, we're not an ideology, we're a praxeology,
Uh-huh.
right? You have to ask yourself, are you teaching any ideas?
Uh-huh.
Like, is there any principles that your belief system is teaching? Because every human being's belief system
Mhm. Mhm.
teaches an ideas, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, when I see that there are certain ideas and premises that are being taught,
Mhm.
therefore you cannot simply say we are not an ideology. There's no ideals that
Mhm.
represent the
Mhm.
things that we believe. And so an example of what are some of the things I disagree with, I think I primarily disagree with a lot of times the descriptions of marriage
Okay.
and just how they analyze and describe marriage in today's world. I think I disagree with the
Mhm.
analysis of male female nature. I think if you were to read a book like The Evolution of Desire by Dr. David Buss,
Mhm.
he's a world leading expert on human evolutionary psychology in regards to mating,
Mhm.
and he's fantastic. Buss School of Psychology is amazing,
Mhm.
and you actually read a person who's like a world-renowned expert on this topic.
Mhm.
And you hear about all the nuance. And I love Dr. Buss because Dr.
Mhm.
Buss understands the nuance and the cross-cultural studies
Mhm.
and so much data. And you were to read some of the more red pill,
Mhm.
doctrinal books, you'll be like, wow, like it's literally like reading Dr. Seuss and reading something like Hamlet.
Mhm.
It's like night and day difference. And so
Mhm.
to me, I think I acknowledge that a lot of their ideas are truthful, like
Mhm.
any ideology, right?
Mhm.
Or whatever the heck word they're using nowadays to convince people that's not an
Mhm.
ideology.
Mhm.
Yes, those things are there's truthfulness in it,
Mhm.
but there's a whole lot of lies and a whole lot of
Mhm.
information that is not statistically accurate.
Mhm.
And that's why I've always recommended people to
Mhm.
read books like The Evolution of Desire by Dr. David Buss, and then simply then read whatever red pill literature that you want and juxtapose those two
Mhm.
ideas, and you'd be extremely astonished to the differences.
Well, it's just because everything you're saying is very broad.
Yeah.
So you even said, like, their teachings on marriage, because, like, from my understanding of red pill is that they're not anti-marriage or pro-marriage, they're anti-marriage as it is today and the way the laws are today. And do you disagree with that?
So I'm gonna give you an example,
Okay.
and I'm excited because I'm really excited about the way you're processing this.
Yeah.
So let's go into marriage. So here's a fundamental challenge. Okay.
Mhm.
So red pill is
Okay.
very broad, right?
Really? I don't think so, actually.
You don't think so?
No.
So do you think a person like Alpha Male Strategies
Mhm.
teaches the same exact ideas as Coach Greg Adams?
I know more about alpha male strategies than Coach Greg Adams. I
Okay.
haven't watched a lot of Coach Greg.
Okay.
AMS, he's like the fuck these hoes to sleep type.
Yeah, but he's evolved.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
old school
I don't
AMS.
know. I just if a guy tells me he watches AMS, I'm like, I gotta
Yeah,
run.
yeah, but even to that point,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah,
so you're like, I gotta run.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's a lot of there's individuals like Stephens Cole. I'm not sure if Stephens Cole still
Uh
call
huh.
himself Red Pill,
Uh
but you have
huh.
the Stephens Cole guys. A
Right.
lot different than Coach Red Pill.
Okay.
A lot different.
Okay.
So what I'm articulating is that within the red pill umbrella,
Yeah.
there's a diversity of individuals.
Yeah.
There's far right, and there's guys who are a little
Yeah.
bit more balanced. So what usually happens when we're having this conversation, which we require so much nuance, and I'm glad we're able
Mhm.
to dive into it, is that when you're describing the red pill, what people want to do is one of two things. You either want to steel man them or you want to straw man them.
Mhm.
The argument that you're probably feeling like, and some
Mhm.
people may feel like, is I straw man them, right? You pick the worst ideas of the red pill, the
Mhm.
worst content creators, and then you define the red pill as that.
Uh huh.
But then on the flip side is a steel man,
Uh huh.
where you find some of their best, brightest ideas,
Uh huh.
ignore all the negativity, nonsense
Mhm.
ideas, and then define that as a red pill.
No, I mean, to me, it's like there's a base set of ideas, and people have different ideas of what to do with
Who
it.
defines the base set of ideas?
I would say that I think that's mostly who's defines the base. I would say Rollo Tomasi. I think he
So,
seems to be like leading that like today, but before it seems like it was Patrice O'Neill possibly.
so you think
And
Patrice O'Neill was
no, I think a lot of like it seems like a lot of ideas derived from him, but it seems like it goes around Rollo Tomasi. That's what
Yeah.
it seems like.
So the interesting part of the conversation,
Yeah.
going back to the red pill conversation,
Yeah.
because I know you want to talk about this, is that there is no single source. There's no
Mhm.
doctrinal source. There's a lot of individuals who've written their books and shared their ideas
Mhm.
as red pill. And
Mhm.
depending on what school of thought you're in,
Mhm.
a lot of individuals will say, well, that's not red pill for me. He's not red pill for me. Maybe in your world,
Mhm.
he's red pill for you. And some people, red pill for them might
Mhm.
be Coach Greg Adams. People
Mhm.
red pill for them might be Fresh and Fit.
Mhm.
People red pill for them
Mhm.
might be AMS. People red pill for them might be Coach
Mhm.
Red Pill. Some people
Mhm.
red pill for them might
But
be
they all seem to say the same
well,
ideas.
yes, it's
Yeah.
it's
Like, so I'm just like, if we're gonna say they're different, like, what is different?
okay. So in regards to each individual, I can't get into the nuances of each individual.
Uh-huh.
So there are some individuals who are, when it comes to marriage, are explicitly marriage. I think the whole institution of marriage in the Western world
Mhm.
is done.
Mhm.
It's over. It doesn't work. It's a failed system. X, Y,
I
and
agree.
X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's why
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why red pill
yeah,
aligns to you, because
yeah.
those emotional sentiments rock with you.
Uh-huh.
So then there's
Not
other
emotional, it's because of the way it is legally.
100%. So those
Yeah.
those legal sentiments
Yeah.
rock with you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we can get into
Okay.
how does those things fleshed out.
Uh-huh.
But then on the flip side, which you have other individuals who say, well, in actuality, well, I do believe that in the sanctity and the beauty of marriage.
Mhm.
And if you're gonna do marriage outside of the state,
Mhm.
I'm all for it, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, some people is like, even with or without the state,
Mhm.
institution is broken, women are broken,
Mhm.
society is broken,
Mhm.
doesn't even matter. Then
Mhm.
some people are like, well, outside of the state, I
Yeah.
support it, I agree with
Well,
it.
it
So there's
seems like
nuance in
it
that.
seems like their prescriptions are different, but their description is the same,
Yeah, but
typically. Typically. So, like, they'll say these are the flaws in women, these are the flaws in marriage, but, like, they have different prescriptions. So some people will still go through with it with a prenup, and other people will say screw it all
yeah.
together.
And so prescribing a behavior
Yeah.
is telling people what to do.
Uh-huh.
And telling people what to do ca- also creates a form of an ideology. So if
Uh-huh.
I say I have
Mhm.
10 rules that
Mhm.
I believe men should follow,
Mhm.
and then say I have no ideology, that
Mhm.
doesn't make any sense.
Mhm.
So to me, an ideology isn't a bad thing. I have an ideology. You
Mhm.
have an
Mhm.
ideology.
Mhm.
Every human has an ideology.
Mhm.
So my biggest argument is
Mhm.
not that the ideology is bad, but
Mhm.
don't lie and say that you don't have an ideology when we all have an ideology.
Mhm.
So in regards to your original
Mhm.
question
Mhm.
about the red pill, I believe a lot of what they say is half truths. And like I
Mhm.
said, for example, if you really analyze human and male nature and female nature,
Mhm.
there's a lot of really dark and disturbing things about female nature
Mhm.
when you can get to the rawness of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And if you were an individual and you were simply communicating those
Mhm.
raw, dark truths about what it was
Mhm.
true, it could be very
Mhm.
simple to realize that, wow, man, these are really, really bad things.
I'll give you an example. Felons have 30% more children than non-felons.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I don't. So you just threw out a number.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
You have nothing to back it up. So
Uh-huh.
another example is,
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, we got to stop there. What happens in this community? What
Uh-huh.
happens with the people who have this school of thought?
Uh-huh.
They'll throw out numbers.
Uh-huh.
Where did that stat come from?
Where did it come
Where did
from?
it come from?
Off the top of my head, I don't
But
know, but it's easy to
I
Google.
know
Like,
it's
if you
easy. I
it's
know
like, if you Google it, it's, like, at the top of
it's
Google.
easy to Google, right? But
Yeah.
the reality of the matter is,
Uh-huh.
when people are sharing their statistics and
Uh-huh.
numbers, a
Uh-huh.
lot of times they don't know. They can't even tell you the primary
Uh-huh.
source.
Right,
So
because it's, like, off the top of your head, you're not
a
gonna
hundred,
know,
a
like
hundred
like,
percent.
right
But why
then.
should I believe
Unless,
you? Why should I believe you?
yeah, okay, but if I'm saying, if I got you the stat, I could look it up now,
I know
but
you can look. You
yeah.
can take your time. We can pause the episode. You
Yeah,
can look
yeah,
it up.
yeah.
But my point is that a lot of times in this community,
Uh-huh.
they'll throw statistics and data at you.
Mhm.
You're not privy to the statistics and data. Some
Yeah.
of it is true. Some of it is false, right?
Uh-huh.
And I can go into some of the truths and false as well.
Uh-huh.
And so, because you're not able to simply look things up, you're in a conversation where you're like,
Mhm.
okay, I'm gonna give this person the benefit of the doubt.
Uh-huh.
But if the data is simply skewed by
Mhm.
sheer numbers,
Mhm.
it can totally this dispel whether this person's communicating the truth or not.
Yeah, but it's easy to just, like, Google it.
I know, but what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
listen carefully.
Uh-huh.
If you and I are having a podcast conversation
Mhm.
and you have 15 data points that justify your worldview, but
Uh-huh.
you don't know the source, you know the primary, secondary
Mhm.
source,
Mhm.
we could stop this episode, and
Uh-huh.
every time you pull up numbers,
Mhm.
we could look at it. You can look them up, you
Uh-huh.
can pull them up, you can show it to me, but that's going to take too long. So
Uh-huh.
usually in conversations like this, you're not able to do so. So
Uh-huh.
therefore, what you're forced to do in these conversations
Yeah.
is, whenever someone gives you a statistic, the
Mhm.
individual's called to believe it. And
Uh-huh.
I've seen that happen myself, because I'm a data person as well. You've consumed my content, so you know some of
Mhm.
it. I'm a data person myself. So when I share data,
Uh-huh.
there's times where I was like, oh, well, that number was wrong. But
Yeah.
because we're in the middle of a conversation, people simply believe me. And
Yeah.
so to me, one of
Which
the
is fine, then you just update it.
I know,
Yeah.
but in the midst of the conversation, when we're having these conversations and when we're sharing all these data, a
Yeah.
lot of people will spew data and
That
numbers
I
that
understand sometimes,
they don't
yeah,
it can be truly false.
I understand
Yeah.
sometimes misinformation happens. Like, yeah,
100%.
I
And it's not
understand.
perfect. I'm not saying you're trying to deceive me,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is that there has to be a level of accountability
Uh-huh.
when we're saying this is the truth. So
Uh-huh.
for one of the things that I've been improving on in regards
Mhm.
to my speech is
Mm.
that if I share a number, if I really don't know the primary source, or I'm not willing to pull it up immediately,
Mhm.
right, I'll say, well, you know what, I think this is the number, or I'm not
Uh-huh.
sure this is the number.
Uh-huh.
But what happens is, when you say 110%, this is true. The divorce rate in America is 50%.
Uh-huh.
It's true. And then
Uh-huh.
you share these explicit narratives.
Okay.
And then when you simply analyze them
Y
and break them down, you realize that's not the case.
Yeah, but then you switch it. But I don't think it's wrong to just say a
It's
number,
nothing wrong
and
to,
then I look it up and it's right. Like, I've
but
looked that up
but
before.
that's not what I think you're
Yeah.
getting lost. You're getting lost in the
Okay.
specific point. I'm talking
Okay.
about the meta point. The
Uh-huh.
meta point is that when people are communicating statistics,
Uh-huh.
the audience has
Yeah.
It's totally dependent
Uh-huh.
upon the orator, and if that person says, "I
Mhm.
am the bearer of the truth," a
Mhm.
lot of times in the midst of a conversation, a lot of people communicate numbers that may or may not be true.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing is that when a lot of these individuals are communicating numbers,
Mhm.
I'm the kind of person where I'm like, "Hey, let's
Mhm.
stop, let's analyze them, and let's see whether they're true or not."
Is there a common talking point that isn't true that you're thinking of?
I think one of the biggest conversations that is not discussed is how marriage has changed from the 90s till today.
Okay, go on.
If you look up the marriage, the
Uh-huh.
divorce rates have been decreasing from the 1990s until today. There's a lot of different
Mhm.
studies and a lot of different analyzation,
No, go on, go on, go on.
a lot of different.
Mhm.
So, are you listening or are you trying to talk?
Uh-huh. I'm
I'm
listening. I'm
curious
listening.
because you kind of seem like
Uh-huh.
you're waiting for me to stop
Uh-huh.
talking so
Uh-huh.
you can say something.
Uh-huh. No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm
Okay.
listening. Mhm.
So, in regards to the divorce numbers, a lot of the divorce numbers that are communicated
Mhm.
today, they're not all. Those are a lot of all previous numbers. And when you're factoring into the trends that are leading to the lowering in divorce rates,
Mhm.
as well as all the different cross cultural analysis of divorces, there's a
Mhm.
lot that can be learned about divorces. So,
Mhm.
in regards to the Western world and a lot of the divorces having issues, they're 100% right. But we have to communicate. Well, here's the reality: the divorce rate has been going down.
Mhm.
And why has the divorce rate been going down? And the reason why the divorce rate is going down is because we've learned a lot of different things about marriage, about divorce, about why did the divorce rate skyrocket initially in 1970s to begin with. And so there's a lot of when you hear a number,
Mhm.
statistics are great under
Mhm.
the broad scope of a conversation. But when you're really trying to dive deeper into what's going on in today's society, statistics tell you a story, right?
Mhm.
So once you understand the story behind the number, then you can understand why the number is practical. So
Mhm.
in my question is so one of the biggest things that we've worked on is that if we're going to give a number, we
Mhm.
want to also tell the story behind the number and
Mhm.
how is that beneficial to improving the lives of people today. And
Mhm.
so to me, that's one of my different points of view is that
Mhm.
if you're simply holding on to any worldview
Mhm.
and the worldview is communicating certain things that may or not be true or may not be painting the whole picture, is this for the purpose of benefiting society or is it for the purpose of perpetuating a narrative?
Wouldn't you say that the divorce rate's going down because people aren't getting married as much?
So think about it like this.
Mhm.
Let's talk about
Mhm.
divorce rate is by percentage. So let's do some
Mhm.
numbers because you
Mhm.
seem like a very analytical
Mhm.
girl,
Mhm.
logical girl. Let's talk about some numbers.
Mhm. Thank
So
you. Thank you.
if the system of marriage is broken,
Mhm.
right,
Mhm.
and 1,000 people get married.
Oh, I see, the rate would still be I see, I
Okay,
see.
so
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
do it for the people, right?
Uh-huh.
Remember,
Yeah, yeah.
the red pill argument is the system is broken.
Uh-huh.
So that means anyone who engages in this institution,
Uh-huh.
whether or not you do it, it's broken. It's not going to work. It's going to lead to a 50% divorce rate.
Mhm.
So if 1,000 people get get married,
Mhm.
therefore it should be 50% divorce rate.
Mhm.
But then if 900 people
Mhm.
get divorced,
Mhm.
and 10 years later, instead of the 1,000
Mhm.
10 years ago,
Mhm.
now 900 people get married
Mhm.
and that divorce rate is 40,
Mhm.
not 50 where it was before. The
Uh-huh.
question that must be asked is these 100 people, why
Mhm.
did that number change?
Mhm.
If the system was broken, then therefore, whether it's 1,000,
Mhm.
900, eight
Mhm.
hundred, 1,200, 1,100, it should
Mhm.
be the same thing. But if the number went down, but
Mhm.
then the divorce rate decreased by percentage,
Mhm.
why did it go down?
Mhm.
Who was not getting married? And
Mhm.
how were they contributing to the increase of divorce rates in the past?
Mhm.
And that's why I said the numbers will tell you a story.
Mhm.
And if you don't know the full story, you
Mhm.
don't know how the number is relevant to the lives of everyday people.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm passionate about.
Mhm.
I want to keep on saying it.
Mhm.
A lot of the red pill arguments are true.
Mhm.
A lot of them are true, mixed
Mhm.
with a whole lot of lies.
Mhm.
And we have to be honest. There is an ideological bent, and there
Mhm.
is a for-profit bent for the ideologies.
Mhm.
But if we're simply going to stop there and
Mhm.
not do a deep dive in analyzing the study, if
Mhm.
we don't sit down and analyze every single statistic number and
Mhm.
juxtapose it with the leading experts in the world who are also studying these
Mhm.
things, we don't have a full, complete message
Mhm.
to share to men and women
Mhm.
for the benefit of
Mhm.
society. Because to me, if we're genuinely saying
Mhm.
that the red pill message is the truth,
Mhm.
if it is indeed the truth or an attempt to convey the truth should only make society better. It
Mhm.
should only make men better. It should only make women
Mhm.
better. It should only create a better world for
Mhm.
us. And
Mhm.
so to me, when I see an ideology, when I see a praxicology, whatever the heck they're calling it
Mhm.
nowadays, when I see a worldview and I'm looking at it, I'm analyzing it, and I'm understanding it, and I'm seeing all people who are leaders in it,
Mhm.
and I'm seeing the inconsistencies in what
Mhm.
they say and what they
Mhm.
do. I'm saying that there's a deeper conversation with the numbers, and there's
Mhm.
a deeper conversation with this type of information that is not being discussed. And I'm glad we're doing it right now.
Mhm. To me, it's like if it goes from 50% to 40%, who cares?
Mm-mm.
That's right.
Don't do that. Don't do that though.
Let me,
Go ahead.
because to me, people aren't getting together. They looked at the get it like getting married rate is lower than it's ever been. So it's like to me, it's just like men are getting a bad deal today, and they're signing a contract where women are paid to leave and take the kids, and to me that's just, and especially in the UK, like I live in London. Like girls, like your child support's literally dependent on how much you have the kids, so you're literally paid to take the kids away.
Okay.
So, like, to me, it's just like a bad deal. And even if you sign a contract and it's a 40% versus 50%, that's still not great.
You first and foremost,
Uh-huh.
let's
Uh-huh.
not be deceptive, right? You
Okay.
cannot,
I'm not being
if you
deceptive.
understand statistics,
Uh-huh.
you cannot say a 10% decrease
Uh-huh.
in the likelihood of something happening
Uh-huh.
isn't a big deal. If there
Uh-huh.
was a drug or
Mhm.
if there was a disease
Mhm.
and we said, you know what, the disease has a 50%.
But
No,
I
let me
think but
finish.
I
Let me
think
finish. You told me not to cut you off. I'm not gonna
okay,
cut you off
okay, okay.
because I understand what you're trying to do right now.
Uh-huh.
I was under the impression of this was to be a certain kind of conversation,
Uh-huh.
but I'm getting what you're doing right now. So if we want to make the conversation the way you want to make this conversation, it's no problem. So like I was saying,
The way I want to make the
like I was
conversation?
saying,
Okay.
like I was saying, if there was a disease and the
Mhm.
disease had a 50% fatality rate,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden, 10 years later,
Mhm.
even if the amount of people with the disease
Mhm.
went down by 2%, 3%,
Mhm.
4%, whatever numbers you want
Mhm.
to give, but then all of a sudden that disease has a 40% fatality rate. The
Mhm.
fatality rate went down 10%. Well, we ask ourselves, yo, how did that happen? No one says, oh,
Mhm.
50%, 40%, no big deal. So everything's the same
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
No, you're
Mhm.
going to be like, wow,
Mhm.
it's still high than we would like it to be,
Mhm.
but it's a lot better than the way it was before.
Mhm.
So, what can we learn from that? What
Mhm.
can we improve on that? How
Mhm.
can we make that better?
Mhm.
And so, to me, going back to the ideology, my biggest thing is I'm all about how can we make the world a better place,
Uh-huh.
and
I
simply
agree.
and simply saying.
Mhm.
Simply saying
Mhm.
that 50%, 40%, that there's no big difference
Uh-huh.
is deceptful. I mean
Mhm.
deceitful.
Uh-huh.
It is not communicating what's really going on.
Mhm.
And so I think it's really cool. And I kind of now a lot of things are making more sense.
Mhm.
But if we're gonna have a real conversation
Mhm.
about men and women in today's society and marriage in today's society,
Mhm.
we have to get into specific details every single point of the conversation and understand the
Mhm.
nuance to each issue.
Mhm.
So if you want to get into
Mhm.
men getting a bad deal in marriage,
Mhm.
we can talk about
Mhm.
that specific issue. But I
Mhm.
think sometimes it's very easy to be able to stay
Mhm.
in our echo chambers, in our
Mhm.
silos, and share these ideas
Mhm.
without having them fleshed out that somebody can give us some pushback.
But I just think, like, you're missing the point. Like, the point is that the laws don't favor men today. Like, the point is it 50% or 40%? That's not the point. The point is that, like, right now, it's a contract that women are paid to leave. And so if that's the way the laws are set up, I understand why men are walking away. Like, I understand why they wouldn't push marriage.
So here's the deal.
Mhm.
So let's play your game. I love to play your game.
I'm
What
not I'm not trying to, like,
it's not. I'm sorry.
okay, okay,
I'm playing. I'm having fun. Don't
okay.
wait. You're a content
Okay.
creator. We're having
Okay.
fun.
Okay.
We're
Okay.
having
Okay.
fun. Come on.
Okay.
Are we
Okay.
good?
Yeah, yeah, we're good.
Okay,
We're
we're
good.
having
We're good.
fun.
Okay. Okay.
Game is just a word. Okay,
Okay.
we're having
Okay.
fun. Guys, we're having fun. This is
Uh-huh.
content. We have lights. We have people here. We're having a good
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Don't take anything
Okay.
personal.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sometimes the pepper soup might be too spicy.
Uh-huh.
We're just having
No,
fun
I
here.
know.
Okay,
I know. Go
we're having
ahead.
fun.
Go ahead.
Cool. So let's play your game.
Okay.
Let's say the system is all the way effed up.
Yeah.
Men are getting screwed left and right. What do we do now?
I think you changed the laws. Like, honestly, I'd like to run for an office someday. I'd like to actually try to change the laws.
I love what you just said.
Yeah.
I love what you just said. My question to you, you're
Uh-huh.
very smart. When we said we should change the laws,
Yeah.
how many people are getting into law? How many people are doing content to be able to change the laws, or
Mhm.
versus how many people are doing content simply complaining about the laws? In your personal opinion, all feelings, no facts. Shout out to Andrew Schultz.
What percent of people are actually trying to change the laws?
versus people complaining about the laws? All
Uh,
feelings, no facts. No, there's no
all
analytic.
feelings.
There's no logical
I
data
know,
for
I
this.
know. Are there? I don't know. I've met a lot of men's rights activists. They actually have a really. Have you ever talked to that community at all?
Yeah, of course. I've seen the Red Pill
Like,
documentary. I'm
no,
familiar
no,
with.
not even that. Like, they have whole groups. I don't know. Like, that's
You
my.
couldn't take. You're a smart woman. You have
Mhm.
no educated guess in the world.
I don't think you're gonna like my answer.
It's
And
not.
that's
It's no.
no,
It's
no, no.
feelings,
I know,
no
I know, I know,
facts.
I know, I know.
How
I
can I
said
not like your feelings?
I feel like there really aren't that many content creators in the red pill space. Like, I think it's a generally small space on YouTube. So if I had to guess, there's probably more lawyers trying to change the laws,
Okay,
or
so
like lawyers that like defend men and that sort of thing.
I
But
love it. I
yeah,
love it. There's more lawyers.
yeah,
My biggest thing is, let's say the laws are broken. I'm about solutions.
yeah.
So what I'm saying is, if you truly believe, if you're like, man, the system is broken,
Uh huh.
then the system got broken because somebody broke it. So you're saying that before the system was working.
Uh huh.
Is that safe to say? Was the system working before?
Before, yeah, but I'd say before no fault divorce, it was more fair. It
Okay.
was more fair.
So
Yeah.
so the system. So in
And
what
birth
was it?
control.
What?
I actually pin I think birth control is
So
like the
was
root of
but
all evil.
was it working? Was the system working?
Yes, more it was
So
more fair before, I would say.
okay. So she said
I
it was working before
said it was more fair.
more, was it working?
It was
If it's
it,
broken now, it must have been working before.
yeah,
Or was it always broken?
it would seem like that, yes.
I'm asking you the direct question. Was it broken? If you're telling me
Uh-huh.
right now it's broken, those are your words. You
Uh-huh.
said the system is broken right now. So
Mhm.
therefore, if the toy was broken today, does that mean the toy was not broken yesterday?
Um, well, because what I'm thinking is there's like multiple points that I would pinpoint that started to like cause the decline of relationships in the West. So it's like you could say no fault divorce, but like then I would also argue that birth control contributed. I would argue like that the beginning of feminism, because I don't believe in like first wave, second wave, third wave. Like I think there's multiple things, but I would say before it was more fair. Does that make sense?
Okay, so
Yeah,
we'll stay in your lane.
yeah,
I love what you brought up because no fault divorce in 1970s changed everything.
yeah.
I keep on forgetting the name of the birth control. Is it Envoyed or Envoyed in 1950s? I forgot the name of the first birth control in 1950s.
Uh
It
huh.
changed the whole entire game,
Hmm.
right? But you primarily said the system today is broken to not benefit men,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
And so if so my argument is
Hmm.
that if you had a community of guys
Hmm.
who are investing all their money,
Uh huh.
all their energy, we're getting into law,
Hmm.
we're supporting these people, we're putting these people on our platform,
Hmm.
if and we're putting these champions who are going to go into Congress and going to go into the
Yeah,
local
yeah.
places.
That's a good
And
idea. You should do that.
no, let's stop. I
That's a good
love.
idea.
Let's stop
Yeah,
right here.
yeah,
You said it was a good idea, right?
yeah.
Why aren't those people doing it? Because you guys, you're the one who told me
Uh-huh.
they believe the system is broken. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
So therefore, if they believe it's
Mhm.
broken, why are they not doing
Well,
everything in their power to fix the system?
I think from their point of view, it's like it's more powerful for men to walk away because
Okay,
like women need an incentive for the laws to change.
okay.
Yeah.
So
So if men walk away from relationships, I mean, I could talk think of like 10 girls off the top of my head that are mad because they won't get a ring, you
okay.
know.
So here is the reality.
Yeah.
Do you really believe? Do you like I'm talking about solutions here.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're saying the better solution is for men to walk away from relationships.
Mhm.
That's a better solution for society.
No, no, that's not my point of view. I said I think that's a lot of their point
But you
of
know red
view.
pill more than I do. You're the one that teaching
I'm
me
saying
earlier.
I'm saying that's their point of view.
Who's there?
Who's there? I would say that's like the MGTOW group.
Okay, the
Yeah,
MGTOW. The
The
MGTOW.
MGTOW
So do you
group.
believe that's a good solution?
I believe do I believe that's a good solution? It could be. I don't know. I'm not claiming I have all the answers,
Of
Hafiz,
course you don't have
but
all
I'm
the answers. We're
saying
just talking. We're having a
yeah, yeah. So
conversation.
I have a couple solutions. So I have a couple ideas.
I love it.
I'll
I
tell you.
want to
I'll
hear
tell
the
you. Yeah,
ideas.
yeah.
We're having a good time.
I'll tell you. The first idea I have, I'm gonna start a wife school.